And as always, if you'd like to support community radio, it's easy. Go to 93qradio.com. Hit that donate button. I mean, hit that bad boy. So my guest this morning, Marc Boomgaarden, who I remember you were working for a company.
Valley Truck and Tractor.
Yes. And I went over and we sat down in your office and I went, I like this guy.
Uh-oh.
And then the next thing I know, you ran for office.
Yeah.
You had, how long ago was that, Marc?
2018. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 2018 was when I first ran for office.
Yeah, and you've been mayor how many times?
This is the second time.
Yeah.
This one's a little different than the first time. The first time was during COVID.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a strange time. I know you and I had chatted during that period as
man.
well. But yeah, a little different this time around.
Yeah, I wonder about my relatives who thought I was an idiot for not getting the shot during COVID. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. I just didn't want to do that, right? And I had 4 jobs that were considered essential. I mean, eventually I got it,
right.
But and then I think I had it like 4 times, and eventually it was just I got COVID, right? It was like your body just adjusts. But what a difficult time. So now it's just easy. Now there's no sweat. Everything is. Yeah. I mean, it's like.
Well, the biggest difference is that you get out more as the mayor, right?
Yeah.
Because in Yuba City we rotate mayors. It's not like some of the other cities. So the real responsibilities of the mayor in Yuba City are to run the council meetings and to show up at public events and do that sort. So it's
come on the radio
and get on the radio with Fish, and bring great guests like Kevin Bradford from our Public Works Department.
Yeah, so I was going to go there next. You brought Kevin, and Kevin's in charge of Public Works, and I understand that you have passed on to him my genius ideas for the roads, and he's not yet gotten on board, has he?
Well, I think he smiled.
How you doing, Kevin? Are you a local boy? Did you grow up here?
I grew up over in Coosa County, so fairly local. Haven't strayed too far from home yet.
No, you probably won't either. If you only got this far, Kevin, that's about it, right? That's as far as you're going to get. How did you end up in Public Works, of all things?
I just went to Chico State and got a civil engineering degrry. And
was that hard between the parties to get the degree?
Hard I had to avoid the parties.
You know what? When you mention Chico State, people immediately go party school, but they forget people actually went to school there and got a degree.
Yeah, I was one of those.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Yeah, so worked 10 years in the private sector, a large international consulting firm, got a lot of great experience, mentored by some really top-notch engineers. And then in 2007, came to work for Yuba City. Marc was actually the fire chief at that point. So we've got a little history now with the city.
It's funny when people say, I'm an engineer, because that could mean a train, electrical. I mean, there is a whole list of engineering degrees. It's not just one thing. And so you had to kind of zero in at some point, right?
Yeah, initially I focused on water resources, so a lot of pump stations, pipelines, that sort of thing. At the city, we're a very small team, so you get, and we're in charge of not just the pipelines and the pump stations, but the roads, the facilities, so you wind up getting a broad experience and learning along the way.
So everything with infrastructure is your baby.
Yep.
So if there's something I don't like, what's the 1-800 number? Call Kevin. You guys actually have an app.
The 311,
which is very cool idea. It's like, I just saw that. Let me,
That's actually very effective because it broadcasts to a group of people at the city. So if one person isn't available at the phone when you call, there's going to be 3 or 4 who are sitting at their desk seeing the 311 come through. So that is actually very helpful if the public uses that application.
I always talk about the non-existent pothole in front of my house because there really isn't one. And I don't remember. I've been there 30 years, but at some point they redid the roads, and then to keep them up, if there's a crack, they have stuff they put in it, and when we talk about roads, there's a lot of different avenues that you guys can take to keep the roads, working. And since you have this money tree,
Yeah.
where you have unlimited funds, because you just go to the mayor, and the mayor's got ever seen that guy in the Monopoly? The guy, it's that's how our mayor is. He's got all this money. It's crazy, isn't it? The price of materials have gone through the roof, and you guys have to try to work with that.
Yeah, and we're doing we're seeing projects now where when I first started in 2007, I worked on a project to overlay Gray Avenue, Bridge Street, Live Oak Boulevard, and now 15 to 20 years later, you're seeing a lot of cracks in those roads. And so we spent millions of dollars back in those days, and if we don't do the treatments that you mentioned, filling in cracks, doing a slurry seal or a cape seal, different prevention measures to try to keep water out of the subgrade, which is ultimately what causes a road to fail. Those projects I did 15 to 20 years ago are going to need multi-million-dollar repairs now. So we're trying to stay on top of that with preventative stuff like you just mentioned.
There are people who really don't want our city to grow. They like it being small, right? Intimate community. They do want new business in that, but they don't want it to be big. For those people who want to keep the country atmosphere, right? Couldn't you just let some roads go till they're gravel, and then then they could feel like?
I think I've
Send
heard
a
from
road
the
grader
people.
down it.
Yeah, I think I've heard from people that they already think there's some roads that are gravel. So.
Kevin, what's the difference between, I know that every election cycle and every time something's mentioned, roads are always way up on the priority. But when it comes to infrastructure, roads are only a portion. You have the water and sewer. Don't those need improvement sometimes, and things have to change as they age out?
Absolutely. A lot of the old downtown infrastructure was put in the 1920s. So
Wow.
You've got clay sewer pipe that's 100 years old now. And, we do have a maintenance program to inspect those facilities. And it's just like the roads where you've got way more need than you have funding. Fortunately, the public just approved rate increases on water and wastewater, and that should hopefully help us start to, get some projects in the queue that will take a bite out of that maintenance list.
So I understand sewer lines, right? That carries raw sewage and blah, blah, blah. So that doesn't mix with drain. Is a drainage system like rainwater off the roads, is that a whole separate system, or does it all come together and go one place?
In Yuba City, it's a separate system.
Okay, so
some
that's two
communities
systems.
it's combined, but in Yuba
Wow.
City, it's two separate systems. And we have different drainage channels. It all ultimately gets to either the Feather River or the Sacramento bypass.
I do want to thank you guys, because over every one of those drainage things, there's a fish. It was so, I get a little teary-eyed. I stand at the curb and look at that to think, they did that just for me.
We won't charge you either.
Would you?
Small surcharge.
How come my water bill went up,
Yeah.
right? It's like, so you're able to do some increases that help pay for it. But the next question I'd have is, what about new stuff? We're building in new areas. Doesn't everything have to go in there too? And then it's got to work with every pre-existing thing we have.
Yeah, definitely. We do have master plans that kind of envision what that whole system needs to look like, and then fee studies that document how much it would cost to actually construct those systems, and then charge impact fees to help offset the cost of,
Yeah.
The
expanding.
new stuff that comes in is the developers pay, unless we've entered
Well,
into
that
some
helps.
agreement to partner with them. And there's been an instance or two where we've done that. But as a new subdivision comes in, they're paying for all the improvements in the infrastructure.
Man, that is such a lot. And then you have to work with the county because it's not like the pipes aren't connected somewhere. Roads aren't connected. I mean, because it's a county line, right? And we'll go to the line and then the road. I know that it's always impressed me that when I leave California and enter like Oregon, like at first the roads are perfect and you're thinking, man, Oregon's got it down. I think they do that just across the border.
Yeah. First impression, right?
We've had some really good success lately actually working with Sutter County. When I first started, it seemed like there was a philosophy where we wouldn't do a road project on the city limit line, thinking that it was the county's responsibility to do that, and they wouldn't do it because they thought it's going to annex at some point. But lately, over the last several years, we've worked really well to target some of those roads that needed it on the city limit line.
Well, I've always felt like it's important that where we live, and I'm not negating the rest of the county and all that, right? But your county seats of both counties are right next to each other. And those particular cities connected with the county government and the city government are in the same area. So it's not, I'm not negating your hometown of Calusa and all the different, bigs, right? All the other towns, and there's a bunch more. I even think of all the ones that are up in the foothills. I just did an event up there that for Yuba County, and they have the same situation. So I would just think that cooperation between city and county, that needs to be fed or whatever.
Yeah.
It needs to be encouraged that, man, we're all in this together, guys.
Right. Sometimes, I've seen it over my career in the fire department and now in local government again. Turf sometimes gets in the way of good thinking. But I would have to echo what Kevin just mentioned is I think our working arrangements or agreements with Sutter County, I've seen them steadily increase.
Yeah,
because
I
we
do
have
too.
to, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's what the public expects. They don't expect, two local governmental agencies not coming together for the good of the people. And, excited always to work with the county when we can on projects. And it's working out well.
So you got some projects coming up and you put in for some funding. What is that going to do?
Yeah, we live off funding, 100%.
We do too.
Yeah.
Please give.
Push that button.
Hit
Grants,
that donate button.
grants from either the feds or the state or even some of our local like FracMed and other entities carry our projects. We have a $2 million extension of the bike path that's under construction right now, the Sutter Bike Path, bringing it in from Hooper over to Harder Parkway by the Walmart and all the new development that's going on over there. We have a little over $2 million in highway safety improvement projects going on around town to basically improve the hardware at our traffic signals. Every sign in the city is getting either replaced with a new bright sign that's something you could see at night or cleaned or upgraded if there's a new standard. We have a bunch of road projects in the queue that will probably be hitting either late this year or early next year on Walton Avenue. $4.3 million grant we received there. We have Garden Highway between Lincoln and Bogue. That's another $4.3 million grant. We have George Washington between 20 and Franklin. These are all, the big high volume streets that are in horrible condition, and we wouldn't be able to do these $6 million projects if we didn't get 2/3 of it paid for by a grant.
I live on Main Street, and so I go down the Winship and then go out to Garden Highway to come down. And I don't know if it's just me or there is substantially more traffic on Garden Highway, because you can sit there a long time waiting to get out, right? And so my first thought is, well, put a light there. But then that's one more light, right? One more, that's a three-way intersection. Well, there is a road across the way, but it just dead ends into the levee. But I'm sure that there is just 50 places that would tell you the same thing. Put a light there. But the expense of doing that is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, traffic signals have gone through the roof, just like everything else. You're probably looking at $600,000 to $700,000 to put a traffic signal in there, and we also
I'm worth it.
We also have to follow a set of guidelines published by the feds in the state that dictate whether one is truly warranted there. Not just because you sat there for 15 seconds longer than you wanted to. There has to be a significant amount, multi-minutes of delay and safety or something like that that would trigger putting in a signal.
Well, they've done things to slow down traffic on Garden Highway. And I mentioned to the chief, even early in the morning, I'll be coming to work. And somebody, it's like I'm doing 35. That's a speed limit, right? And man, they'll go in that center lane and pass me and just rocket down the road. And it's not just once and not just one vehicle. And so you guys did put those orange water things down. And at that end, that's been excellent. I mean, you can tell people have slowed down going through there.
Good.
But it's just, it's like every time something isn't right, you guys get a phone call and got to fix it. So how much of your responsibility is the levies?
We don't really have any responsibility.
Yeah,
on
so
levies.
the levies themselves are covered by special districts, Levy District 1 and Levy District 9 as it touches Yuba City.
Okay.
So they are responsible for the maintenance, but I think we work closely with them.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
because it's in the city's best interest to have good
Yes,
levies
yeah.
and maintain levies. But yeah, I
We
feel
got
pretty
shirts
good.
that say "We like levies."
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Especially those that live like I do, very close to
Yes.
it.
Right.
We have bike paths on top of them and
Yeah.
pipelines that go through them, so there's definitely some coordination.
You know that I can tell you this. I tell people this all the time. I don't want your job. It's like when you think about the expertise that it takes to have the knowledge or go get the knowledge where needed for a specific job to function. Public works sounds like it's easy. Oh, public works, you guys, right? But it entails a lot. That's why I asked you what I did. It's not simple. It's not simple. And then having to work with the kind of funding it takes when you're watching a certain area deteriorate, whether it's roads or sewers, and or you're watching, man, we're getting new people are moving here all the time. That's going to mean new developments. So even if a new development comes in and they pay for that portion of it, they don't pay for the added stuff it'll take for the rest of it to work, right? For the system, to the whole system, because they're plugging into an existing system that you said, like in the downtown area, was built in the 20s. That's crazy to me.
One thing that I think people aren't maybe fully aware of as well as the volume of the traffic, right? So these roads, Yuba City was founded in 1849, incorporated in 1908. So the road system then was different, planned differently than it is needed today. Plus, you have to look at the kinds of traffic that we're handling on our roads now. A lot of trucks, big trucks. Okay.
Yeah.
The electric vehicles aren't any, they're not light either. So the roads are taking a beating that they weren't necessarily designed or intended to take. So when they do a new road project, they're building them up to the new standards so that they will withstand and last, the 15 or 20 or hopefully more years. But that's contributing to what's going on with our road system too. It's just volume of traffic. One thing that you mentioned, if you don't mind, is not only are they out there designing and doing and building, but they also have to have that administrative capacity to go out and get those grants. And these are competitive grants. I sit on SACOG. We are the conduit for federal and state funding. These are extremely competitive grants. And I'm going to mention one here, is that in this current cycle, there were 34 applications made through SACOG, which is the 6 counties in the Sacramento region. 34 applications were submitted, 20 of those were ranked, and Yuba City had the number 2 and the number 7 and the number 8 out of those 20. I mean, that tells you the kind of administrative capacity
That
they
side,
have.
yeah.
It's huge, and that's bringing about $2.56 million back to Yuba City that Sacramento grabbed, that we're grabbing back.
You know why they're going to get that grant? Because he put that pothole in front of my house on that grant, and they looked at that and said, "Give that kid fix his pothole."
I thought it was because we were going to invite him to spaghetti with
Yeah,
machete.
that's it too. Invite them out to eat good spaghetti, man. They'll do it. Right. This is really good. Thanks, for taking the time to come on, because I think sometimes there's so many different pieces to the whole, and in our city and county connections, and we've talked about it, those are constantly improving. The things that have to be done, the public understanding. I mean, I didn't realize that Highway 20 and 99 are actually maintained by Caltrans. And then just recently, I got a thing that they are doing that Stafford Way. They're putting a light on
Yeah.
Stafford Way. So we don't have to pay for that, right?
Right.
That's something they
Well,
do.
we do through taxes, but
Yeah,
it's the state.
yeah. But they were talking about improvements to the sidewalks for wheelchairs and that, so people could cross. I don't know. Apparently they thought we needed a light at Stafford and that, which we probably do. But that's at all that research you're talking about. So they paid for all the research, all that, to make sure they fit what the government says. Blah
Right.
blah blah. And then they just call you up and say, "Hey, we'd like to put a light in there."
Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what triggered that one is there's a lot of pedestrian accidents
Yeah.
at that location. People would rather try to cross there when they see what they think is a gap and not realize cars are probably going 40, 50 miles an
Yeah.
hour through there. But that's entirely state funded. If I had more money, I would really love to fix Stafford, the approaches to the intersection with 20. They're in horrible shape. But we don't have that in our budget right now. But just the signal and all the improvements that you see out there are 100% Caltrans funded.
I know that people that travel 20 on Colusa Highway are going, "Another light," but those
Yeah.
are all synchronized. The reason I can get out at that intersection is because however the lights are set up, they make it so there's a gap.
Yeah.
And that gap, I know if I sit there, I'm going to get a gap,
Yeah.
right? I don't need to jump out there and get hit, right? I just wait, and then pretty soon the traffic from both sides, it's clear, and I go, my turn, right? So somebody's setting up those lights to do that. you
Yeah,
know?
Caltrans does a fantastic job of doing what they can with what they've got. It's just an impossible to get it so that everybody can just flow through signal to signal. And the one at the mall usually trips you up once in a while, but they've done a great job.
Yeah, I try to not go over that way. My thing is I go from my house to work, from my work to lunch, from lunch back to work, and from work home.
You're a creature of habit.
So those are my route, right? Whatever it takes to do that. Well, man, I appreciate this.
Can I mention one last thing?
You can. I would let you do whatever you
Well,
want.
careful.
Yeah. And now you're new DJ and
Yeah,
mayor
no,
of
no,
Yuba
no.
City.
Tonight
Oh, yeah.
at 5:30 over at the Veterans Center in Yuba City, the city is partnering with the Yuba Sutter Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Downtown Business Association to highlight a project that we've been working on. I know that, Fish, you've seen it, and certainly Kevin has seen it as well. We've got 4 areas within the city that we're looking at, energizing economic development, et cetera. One of those is north of Yuba College, the Sutter County campus, kind of looking at a sports complex up there. Then there's the Harder area. There's land there. There's an area called the River District, which is down there off of 2nd Street where the old courthouse building.
That's a very cool one.
And then if you're familiar with Bridge Street, Dana and all those
Yep.
package warehouses. So we've been working in concert with a lot of different partners on, okay, what could this look like at some point in time? And we're looking for citizen feedback. So if you're interested in some stuff that's probably coming to Yuba City at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, tonight, 5:30 at the Veterans Center, I'd love to have you come out and provide feedback because it's your city.
Yeah,
And we need
yeah.
folks to take a look at that and weigh in. So
Well, they
thank you.
might just get excited to find out that besides everything you guys are doing, you're trying to look down the road.
Absolutely.
Trying to say, look, that that we're taking care of current needs the best we can, but that doesn't mean let's just stop and that's where our focus ends. We have a responsibility to look down and say, hey, what's Yuba City going to look like in 10 years, and we can make a difference in that. And this gives people a chance to come weigh in on it. I mean, there's some great ideas. I've seen them. This is some good stuff, and it'll encourage people if they'll go. So 5:30 at the Veterans Center tonight. All right. By the way, I'm going to ask. This has nothing to do with anything else, right? That Dana and Dana you mentioned, is that active?
There's some stuff in there, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I've gone by there before, and I thought, was that like, a company years ago, or is it?
Yeah. So that was a thriving, fruit and agricultural place. Some people might remember Jolly Green Giant. They were over there. So it was a going concern, and the railroad spur helped all that stuff. So again, right now there's some cold storage in there.
Okay.
And that's being used, but it could be repurposed into something that's pretty phenomenal. If you want to get a sneak peek at that, come tonight.
There you go. I led right into that, didn't I, Mayor? All right. Thanks so much for calling. Good to meet you, and I'm glad you're doing a great job. I'm glad that you made a decision that years ago that was going to help us now. You decided not to go to that party that night. And because you stuck with it, we benefit from your decision. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Fish.
Thank you.
This community interview is made possible by Shaw and Associates.
I'm Dave Shaw.